Worst gearing system in gacha games. I am shocked that this is not made by St. Totas. I'm not sure who Saiichi is, but I mean, maybe they have a point here. I've never seen this creator before, but this video blew up out of nowhere. Oh, they made a Limbus Company video before. Worst gearing system in gacha games. Let's get into it.
Convoluted gearing system. Genshin's artifact grind, Withering Waves' echo abilities, Nikkei's overload gear, Girls Frontline 2's weapon attachments. From farming RNG relic substats to a separate equipment banner to pull from the gacha, the gacha game market has progressed to a point where at least some of these systems are in place one way or another.
Absolutely.
Mobile games are in nature live service, and most people understand that there must be some form of player retention in place in the game mechanics to keep you coming back daily. I doubt most people.
So rather than player retention be incentivized by enjoyable gameplay, they just give you a bunch of chores to do every day to keep you locked in. And you know what sucks? It works, and it works on me too. It's fucking bad, man.
Joy farming artifacts or grinding the living hell out of endgame upgrades. At most, it's something to be tolerated. Now, I played a number of gacha games to this day, and something I wanted to answer is, how bad can a gearing system get? How messy can the web of upgrades to keep track of be? In this video,
Dude, to this day, and bless Wuthering Waves with my whole heart, I have no idea why the fuck tuners are still a thing in Wuthering Waves. I cannot believe that tuners have lived until patch 2.1. I am praying to God every single day those things get fucking removed. They're so bad.
I want to split each category of how a gacha game implements its retention mechanics into 5 different tiers, all with varying types of ways to retain you as a player to come back. After introducing this list, I also want to answer the question of which game I believe has the worst gearing system I've seen so far. My name is Psyche, and let's get back on the grind. So first, there's some rules and definitions I want to set regarding how...
by the way, the worst gearing system in all of gacha games is Summoner's War. And I stand by that. That shit is fucking terrible.
How different gearing systems work. The success of a live service game is often measured in a metric called daily active users. I personally find it pretty intriguing that this term borrowed from software development refers to players as users. Since these games are free to download and play, they need to find some way to engage and monetize its player base through other means.
And God forbid it's an enjoyable gameplay.
DAU should hold steady and even gradually increase over time. One of the necessary evils given birth through the live service model is the gearing system. Regardless of how it's implemented, these are researched and refined to be what works the best. Usually in a...
The best way to retain daily active users is to give them a jump button. And that's the God's honest truth. There's a reason why Wuthering Waves and Genshin have great active users, and Zenless Zone Zero... Honkai Star Rail doesn't, bro. Honkai Star Rail dying, bro. Honkai Star Rail is $1 million game that should be $1 billion game if they just gave people the ability to jump. Because that's all I'd be doing, bro. I played World of Warcraft for fucking 12 years, and all I would do is run around and jump. HSR, you're glued to the ground. That shit drives me nuts.
Gacha game, there can be 1 or 2 secondary ways in which a character can be upgraded, if you ignore primary methods like leveling them or their skills. Those 2 secondary ways are equipment and relics. I define equipment as a single piece of equipable gear to a unit. It works independently from other gear and can often be swapped out freely. The equipment can either be a weapon or apparel of sorts, but there's little to no RNG involved in either obtaining it or how it functions. Well, unless you count pulling it from the gacha if that applies. This is pretty straightforward if you play any MiHoYo games. Most equipment in gacha games can either be pulled from the gacha or earned in some way for free. I define relics as pieces of gear coming in more than sets of 1 that can be slotted into a character to enhance their stats or abilities. There's some form of RNG elements to them, either the method in which it's farmed or any substats that they may be able to roll. It's a combination of all relic pieces that gives you a desired result. You can kind of think how if you only slotted in some, but not all of the slots, then the build would feel incomplete. You might be able to reroll said substats at times, but regardless if you can or not, these will qualify as relics. Again, I don't imagine most people will have trouble visualizing the differences between the two. With that out of the way, let's move on to the 5 tiers. Gear is how I'd classify how each gacha designs its gearing system. Obviously, searching for the worst one out there only makes sense when you can...
You know what game had a great gearing system? Arknights. Arknights was you build the character with... it was like an agreement of time. You put about 4 or 5 days of investment into a character and they'll be fully maxed, or at least 80% of the way through. Put in another week, then they're fully maxed if you want to min-max, and then the character's done. Use them forever. It was awesome. They'll never fall off in terms of the build isn't good enough. Same build, same character, just do whatever the fuck you want. It was so nice.
Compare it to something it's worse too. Please note that this 5-tier list is not necessarily an objective best to worst list of game design, as some players may see things a bit differently than I do. But it's how I like to categorize the gearing mechanics in a gacha game. There will be pros and cons to each approach, but I will be disclosing which one I think is the worst at the end. This is also not an exhaustive list. I undoubtedly have not played every gacha game there is, so I'll be limiting myself to showing examples from the ones I'm already familiar with. Tier 1 is what I call the elementary. This is the purest form of progression with virtually zero RNG involved. Tier 1 gearing systems have either 0 or just one form of equipment needed on a character, but that equipment must be earned or bought with in-game currency. It cannot be pulled from the gacha, nor directly purchased with cash. In addition, or lack thereof, there's no relic system at all. The 2 games I can accredit this tier.
Yeah, I'll be real, bro. I just really don't think there's a need for a relic system in these games. They're usually just mindless monotony. Like, it is fun sometimes, but like, it just gets so min-maxy. It really does get so min-maxy. It's such a fucking pain.
Tier 2 are games such as Reverse 1999 and the late Alchemy Stars. In Reverse 1999, the side tube is equipped.
Yeah, 100%. Like, okay, so here's what they should do. They should allow players to farm the resources to level up and enhance their talents via an energy system. And they should allow players to farm artifacts infinitely. If that's what they do, then it makes sense. But the reason why a lot of these systems fucking blow is because the artifacts are also locked behind that same energy system, which is a shame. Now, Wuthering Waves was almost on the right track because you can farm a shit ton of echoes, but then the same materials to level up those echoes are also fucking energy gated, which just fucking blows, man.
By units to gain additional stats and passive skills. The side tube effects are concretely set, no RNG in that aspect. You must purchase these in the in-game shops, and it's not possible for side tubes to drop from the gacha. In Alchemy Stars, every unit's weapon is already pre-attached.
Oh, and another great thing would be to just remove flat stats. We already have energy recharge, attack percent, HP percent, defense percent, lightning damage, fire damage, wind damage, water damage, earth damage, crit rate, crit damage, effect hit rate. You know what I'm saying? Do we really need flat HP, flat attack, and flat defense? No. Oh, and then, oh my God, the only stat that fucking matters, speed. Like, with so little targets we want to hit, why do we have to artificially make ones that are always dead? Flat attack, flat HP, flat defense are always bad, bro. They are always bad.
To their kit. It's not even necessarily a weapon, but rather just another avenue in which you can put upgrades to.
Well, Tectone, sometimes they're good. 99.9% of the time, they're bad.
I'll throw Arknights in here too, but just know that I've never played it myself, so I can't be 100% sure this is the model the game has.
Sure.
In order to make up for the lack of having an equipment gacha banner type, these games may make dupes more desirable to incentivize players to pull more copies of a character.
I don't really think that Arknights really wanted that many dupes, though. A lot of the characters are good as is at just one copy.
Other than that, games with this model tend to
Unless
be
something
grindier to
changed.
max out all the upgrades. For example, when you ascend a unit, their level resets back to 1 with their level cap increased, and you have to level them again, repeating for the total amount of ascensions they can undergo.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ultimately, you have to put in more XP for a full enhancement. The side tube slot in Reverse 1999 can also be limit broken and even duplicated to give bigger boosts with a special item. These are typically given out in limited controlled quantities. The selling point of this model is that, well, first, not a lot of gacha games do this, so just the novelty of it can draw some players in. Second, the upgrades are slow, but they're guaranteed. There's a long road ahead of you, but you can see the finishing line in the distance.
Yeah, I do prefer that
With
way.
each upgrade you dump
nice.
into a character, inching you ever so slightly ahead. The drawback is that there's no variation to your daily routine. It can lead to the same dull moments
By the way, this is Alchemy Stars they're talking about, right? This is the game Alchemy Stars?
of you just logging in, doing your dailies, putting in the upgrades, then just logging off. Unlike an RNG relic system,
Reverse
there's no
1999?
thrill
No, man, I ain't playing that shit. Hell no. I forgot Alchemy Stars End of Service. True.
of the what-ifs of landing those godlike substats to
Fuck
excite
tuners,
you.
man.
Nonetheless, it is a design choice
Hero
that
games,
some
please hear our
developers
cries.
opt into,
Fuck tuners.
and taking Reverse 1999 or Arknights as an example, this model clearly can work very well. Tier 2, the traditional. The traditional approach is a callback to older gacha games while retaining elements of modern design.
This is a Limbus Company song. Isn't it? Or am I wrong? This sounds like Limbus Company. It is? Boys, I'm part of the community. I'm starting to recognize game. Holy fuck. Look at me, a proud Limbuser.
Just like Tier 1, there is still no RNG relic system, but you are able to pull equipment from a gacha of sorts. The emphasis here is not that you have to pull it from the gacha, it's that you are able to at all. The games I'll accredit this Tier 2 include examples such as Fate Grand Order and Limbus Company. The Craft Essence slot is a singular piece of equipment to boost the servant's abilities, and the Ego slot provides an active skill that can be used. While it is possible to equip more than one, only one can be used and Egos cannot directly interact or affect one another, which does fall under my definition of equipment. However, both of these games still don't have any RNG relics to farm. Upgrades are still slow and guaranteed, but the introduction of equipment gacha can have its nuances in design. For one, you now have to consider not just characters to pull from the game's gacha, since now there is another avenue of upgrade that could be blocked behind additional monetization. The selling point is that these games can ease down on the requirement of pulling dupes of a character, since equipment gacha can make up a good chunk of its content and revenue as well. Overall, Tier 2 games can feel similar to Tier 1, but the addition of introducing equipment to gacha can have its distinction.
I will say a Jujutsu Kaisen crossover for Limbus Company could go hard. I am excited to see how they implement Arknights characters in a Limbus Company.
Moving on to Tier 3. This tier is what I call the moderate. Starting from now, these games...
Dude, a Berserk crossover for Limbus Company would go crazy. That would go fucking nuts. Yeah, fuck JJK, Berserk crossover for Limbus. That would be insane.
Do have relic systems, but feature character-only gachas. Equipment either doesn't exist or can only be farmed in-game. I will accredit Nikke, Heaven Burns Red, and Path to Nowhere to this tier.
Okay, Path of Nowhere gameplay. I've been recommending that a lot, but that gameplay looked like shit, bro. Fuck. I mean, I need to see that again. Maybe.
I will accredit Nikke, Heaven
I also need to replay Nikke.
Burns Red, and Path to Nowhere.
This gameplay just does not impress me. But, I don't know. This shit looks very dated. Nikke's so good. Yeah, I do really need to give Nikke's story another shot.
To this tier. Nikke
Oh, it's a tower defense? Okay, never mind. Fuck, I love tower defense. Okay.
Its overload gear demands investment into rerolling its stats, which takes its respective currency, while also needing to farm the appropriate gear in random daily drops. HBR's accessories can also be rerolled, and gear rating is determined at random when it's crafted. Path to Nowhere's Crime Brands is a bit of an interesting case. While the stats are set, there are still set bonuses, requiring relic pieces belonging to the same set to reap its benefits. And drops can also be random. The selling point is that main upgrades usually don't take as long as Tier 1 and 2 games, as
That does sound pretty good.
the randomness of the relic system can create an illusion that a full character build can be short, which sometimes does actually happen. A popular argument that can be made to defend this is that you often don't need the perfect relics to do the majority of content in the game.
True. Here's the other thing, guys. When gearing systems take 3 weeks to 5 weeks to do, that sounds fine if you have 4 or 5 characters, but it doesn't sound fine when you have 60 fucking characters in your game. At a certain point, we got to make it a little bit easier to gear these characters when we have 3,000. It's insane.
And that's true. The main difference between having an RNG relic system and guarantee progression is that for the former, once you upgrade a unit to its absolute maximum, while it is a slow process, you know that they are the most powerful version as they can be. When RNG is involved, there's a nagging feeling at the back of your mind that if only this relic had this stat, it would have been perfect.
Oh, dude, how many shit artifacts have you rolled? Because, dude, if it hit speed 3 times, oh, it would be crazy. It's like flat attack, flat HP, flat defense, 1 speed roll. But dude, if I hit, it'd be crazy. I just have to win a 1 in 1,125.
There's a lot more variability now. The
It's
upper
so
limit
bad.
of min-maxing has been blurred. These games may have a secondary upgrade system similar to equipment, but at the end of the day, you still only have to worry about pulling characters from the gacha. Tier 3 games can allow you to have a taste of feeling the immense amount of satisfaction of completing a character build or landing those perfect stats, while also not having to worry about another type of gacha banners.
Wait, yo, who the fuck was that? Damn, bro, she a bad bitch. Damn, is she a B rank?
Gacha banners. Of course, just like Tier 1, they can also make pulling duplicates more desirable in order to make up for the lack of
Oh my god, she's so fine.
equipment gacha. Tier 4, the contemporary. This category is what I like to call the Genshitification of gacha games. Where
Genshification is so true. This is why I'm still so hypercritical of Genshin. Because Genshin is laying the groundwork for a lot of new up-and-coming gacha games, and so many games are copying this fucking game, and so if this game has a bad principle in it, it's gonna go into other games. That's why I freaked the fuck out on Mavica and Sitlali banner. That shit is a joke.
Mihoyo
Hell
released
no.
Genshin Impact, something must have clicked for a design like this. While this system has appeared before, it's not until the artifact system dropped until it saw widespread use. Most of the modern releases will fall under the Tier 4 category. Here, you are.
Here's the thing, gacha games. Genshin didn't blow up because it's good. It blew up because of COVID. Without COVID, these features aren't gonna work, so stop copying this game where its main success factor was a fucking global pandemic.
able to pull.
Because I'll be real, if Limbus Company dropped when fucking COVID happened, it would be a multi-billion-dollar company too. Hoyoverse got lucky. And want me to tell you why I know that? Because Honkai Impact 3rd wasn't shit.
Equipment for the gacha, and at times even a dedicated banner for it, and there is a relic system with RNG substats. Genshin struck a balance in monetization and late game grind, because indeed, this model is shown to be very effective. So effective that a lot of other games copy it too. MiHoYo's other modern games, Kuro games with Withering Waves, Snowbreak, Girls Frontline 2, all share the same concepts. Whether this is a design choice you agree with or not, after the wide popularization of this gearing system, I can guarantee you that most of 2025 and all future releases will follow suit.
You know what I'm really looking forward to? I'm really looking forward to Kuro Games making a Honkai Star Rail. Because let's be real, PGR copied Honkai Impact 3rd, Wuthering Waves copied Genshin Impact. When Kuro Game releases their version of Honkai Star Rail, oh, it's gonna be fire. It is gonna be fire, bro. It is gonna be fire.
This is the Pandora's box of player retention techniques. Given just how successful and impactful this model has become, all gacha developers until the end of time would either have to sneak a few glances at it or intentionally design the gearing system another way.
I can't wait for
That being said, this method of player retention clearly works quite well. Tier 4 seems to be a comfortable spot in which developers will try to aim for in order to have a good chance at getting their game in the spotlight. And why not? All the previous examples I mentioned are immensely popular.
Damn, bro,
it
look at
clearly
that boobies.
works and players are generally okay with it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Sure.
When gacha games first started doing this model, it was annoying, but it was novel at the time.
Yeah.
There just wasn't anything quite like it, and the niche audience that played it was willing to deal with it. As more games do RNG relic systems, player tolerance of it goes down, which means that developers need to reach some form of compromise to make it look more manageable. There might be some way to get rare weapons for free, relics might be very easy to obtain, or ways to reroll the substats. From a competitive standpoint, they need to design a way to entice players to come back every day while also appearing slightly more appealing than the competition. If there's a set formula that developers can follow when it comes to designing a gacha game, it would be Tier 4. The main advantages come from pulling duplicates to being more optional, and your daily routine is shaken up a little, even if it can be for the worse. You don't know what kind of relic substats you'll get, but there's no trickery, no additional layer on top of that.
Yeah.
The RNG
that
aspects
shit.
only come in a few steps, and it can even be thrilling to land a good relic. You can imagine it as like a miniature spike of dopamine, and can almost feel as good as landing a rare unit from.
Oh, no, it doesn't feel as good. It feels better. A good relic feels better than pulling a good unit. It's, oh man, getting a fucking 11 speed on HSR, man, I'd come. Getting this relic right here, oh, I'd blow my full load. But then again, flat attack. Fuck, I hate that stat.
The gacha. Of course, RNG can also work both ways. You might be done with the character build in one try, and that would cut down on the grind immensely. But RNG can also work against you. If you happen to be unlucky, you could be farming for weeks or even months before getting your desired results.
Bro, you know what RNG system fucking, oh my god, this shit was so bad. I played World of Warcraft, and getting like the rare cosmetics and the rare mounts, oh my god, you would get one shot every week. And I was trying to farm these things called Tusk of Manaroth, which were a drop off of Mythic Garrosh Hellscream. And I farmed that for 6 years, and I never got it. 6 years. Same thing with Mimran's Head, which was drop off of Ulduar, which is a raid from the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. Never got Mimran's Head a single time. It was, oh my god, it was misery, bro. You got one shot every week, but if you got it, oh my god, you just about come.
Another possible plus side, and I'm stretching it a little bit here, is that since most new releases use this model, your knowledge of how the gearing system works is shared to some degree. You have the basic gist of what to do without the game explaining it to you. If every new game does this, then you have a general roadmap on how to get to where you want to be. Now you might be wondering, Tier 4 system sounds pretty complete. It doesn't seem like the gearing system can get more complicated than that.
Here we go.
Alright, psych man, if you've covered 4 tiers already, what on earth is Tier 5? Well, prepare yourself, because Tier 5 is what I like to call the bullshit.
Oh god.
While everyone may have their tolerance levels of complexity of late game farming, Tier 5 games take the cake for me for being some of the most excessive and convoluted systems I've seen in a gacha game. Not only does it have all of the aforementioned features of Tier 4, there's some kind of extra layer or complexity or annoyance to take navigating the gear system to the next level. I will give a few examples of this, but just know that I'd actually enjoy some of the games I'll talk about. This portion of the video is a critique purely on the gearing system and nothing else.
Bro. Show her again. Oh my god, her expression is so hot. Dude, when you're like fucking a chick, bro, okay, imagine you're fucking a chick, right? When she smiles at you while you're fucking and she's giggling, oh my god, that shit is so hot. She's laughing at how small it is.
There's a handful of titles I'd fit into this category, but to be honest, there's likely 1 or 2 ways it can annoy you in its gearing system, but it's still manageable. Such as how in the PvP gacha game Epic 7, you have to pay gold to unequip gear. It wouldn't be that bad if it was a single-player game, but due to the nature of its main mode being PvP, gear quality is extremely important.
Fuck, bro.
When I tried out solo leveling Arise, there were a total of 8 relic pieces.
Yeah, that's the thing, like, I was hopelessly addicted to Summoner's War, so I never gave E7 a fair chance, man. But man, I wish I did, because those characters are so hot.
All with their own substats attached. Normally, I wouldn't have passed this game to this tier by that alone if it weren't for the fact that when you upgrade an artifact, you have to use a special currency on top of gold. And the upgrade could fail, its failure rate increasing the higher you upgraded. If the upgrade fails, you don't get your resources back. You just have to keep going until it succeeds.
Oh my god, bro, it was the same thing with Cookie Run! Bro, Cookie Run was so bad! The gearing system was pain! Because you could just lose and lose and lose and lose and all of your cookie bits go away, bro. It was so bad.
If you think these are bad, there is a game I would like to award the crown to for the most complex gearing system I've seen so far.
Cookie Run.
I love Brown Dust 2.
Oh, come on, bro. You could have given me a shout. Oh, man, I got like a fucking bad addiction to Cookie Run, bro. Even seeing it, like, oh, man, Shadow Milk Cookie being on a banner right now. Fuck, it's so hard not to go pull. It's so hard. Brown Dust 2, I thought this was porn, bro. Wait, there's a game outside of that?
I had a blast going through the story and being introduced to the cast. This game does a lot of things well, primarily its generosity and fan service elements. Seriously, if you think Nikkei has it nailed down, Brown Dust 2 is also not pulling any punches. I returned to the game at its 1.5 anniversary just to claim the rewards and revisit it. And one thing that's kept me from making it a mainstay in my catalog, and why I'm most likely not making a follow-up video on it, is due to its gearing system. Let me break it down. Every unit can have a maximum of 5 pieces of gear.
Okay.
One of which is the equipment that each character will have their exclusive, which is to be pulled from the gacha.
Sure.
Only that respective character can equip their exclusive equipment. In order to craft gear at all, you have to gather enough raw materials. This can be farmed via various maps using daily stamina. Then, since UR tier gear is the only one worth considering in the late game, you'll have to convert the materials to its higher grade level with a dust currency. For UR gear specifically, you'll also need a special crystal currency that's given out in events and other activities in controlled quantities. After that, when crafting gear, its actual rating is randomly rolled from 4 possibilities, from grade +1 to +4. 4 obviously being the best. Your odds here are not very good. As you can see, since the most late game builds
only thing you got a
will
high
want
odds in
+3s
this
or
game
4s,
is
you
busting a
actually
nut.
only have a 20% chance of landing it, with 4s
What?
having a measly 5% chance of dropping. Since there's no way to upgrade the tier of gear from a +1 to +2, for example, what you get from crafting will remain that way forever. You can dismantle gear, but you don't get the original crystal back from forging it to begin with. So after you get a +3 or 4 relic, you're far from done. Now you can level it to 9 while boosting its stats, but not so fast. Each upgrade attempt could fail, and you just have to keep going until you get it.
Bro, Lost Ark had the same shit. It is so bad, bro. Y'all remember the upgrade system in Lost Ark? Bro, that shit was pain.
After reaching level 9, the total amount of stats given to the relic's main stat is still not set in stone. It's also random from a range. The gear is now rated based on 3 letter grades, with S obviously being the best. You now have to re-roll the letter grades using gold. This process also uses solo leveling Arise's method of requiring a different powder currency. Now, getting 3 S's is very unrealistic,
having fun,
but
guys?
even if you go for triple A's, it's still gonna sink a bit of your gold reserve. So after all that, surely we're done, right?
Nope.
Well, there's still the relic substats.
Don't think so.
Now, using a different crystal currency and more gold, you can reroll the 3 substats of the relic. You can lock a few in place, but doing so will greatly increase the cost per roll. Once that's done, you just have to do this 4 more times for each character. If you use the in-game link to the page showcasing the odds and probabilities, you'll soon realize that maybe it was for the better if you didn't know the rates instead.
Yeah.
The only positive I can think of is that you might feel a sense of satisfaction or superiority that you're able to navigate and conquer a system like this.
No, because systems like this, you don't feel good that you won. You feel relieved that you didn't get fucked. It's the same thing with League of Legends Ranked. You're not happy that you won. You're just excited that you didn't lose. And that's the fucking problem, bro.
Plus, since Brown Dust 2's
Holy
units
shit.
are costume-based, you only have to get a full set and all of that character's variants will be wearing it. I'm sure someone can make the argument that you can swap gear around, so it's not as bad as I make it out to be. But what I am trying to say is that the existence of this gearing system is what annoyed me enough to not want to stay. I'd still recommend giving the game a shot, as all the other positives still make it
good,
worthwhile.
bro.
But my award for the worst gearing system so far goes to Brown Dust 2. So what have we learned
Nah, Cookie Run worse.
today? Well, game designers must strike a balance
Lil Pup
between
don't know.
healthy player engagement
Lil Pup don't know
or
about
just
the Cookie
plain
Kingdom.
annoying to play. The next time you see a separate equipment gacha or RNG relics, you might think that the game doesn't need this junk to be a fun game. The experience would have been so much more enjoyable if these weren't present. And you'd be absolutely correct. These games don't need these mechanics to be the most fun it can be. It's a small stain on an otherwise spotless experience.
Yeah.
However, the gearing system goes hand in hand with the live service nature of mobile games.
Yep.
And it's a compromise that everyone must be accustomed to. So what kind of gacha gamer are you? Do you tolerate having slow but guaranteed progression in a system without any RNG involved, or are you a thrill seeker that enjoys chasing the electrifying moments of landing that perfect artifact? Let me know if you like the trend that most modern gachas are following, or which
Fuck no. Absolutely not. You know what gearing system is good? Limbus Company. Download today. Great video, man. Actually dope. Yeah, it's nice seeing somebody. He seems well informed. It's nice seeing somebody complain about the shit that I've been hating for years and people actually be receptive to it. That shit's good, bro. Great fucking video, man. Great fucking video.